Good afternoon. Welcome to Reports in NCEES for ad hoc reporting and export to PDF. I did put a link in the chat, and Miss Audrey's going to put it in there some more as we see people join. Let me put it in there one more time. So you get to our slides if you'd like to follow along with the slides or keep a copy of the slides, and we will go through those today. You are joining us through WebEx. I can get my slides to move. Through WebEx, and we do use the chat for questions or ideas, and you can also unmute during our session. We have no problem with that. So if you'd like to ask a question, please do ask those, and we will be sure to answer or follow up with an answer if we can't answer live. In WebEx, you do have the ability to use closed captions. If you are not hearing us, I'm circling audio issues right now. You need to switch your audio or try to go out and come back in, which I know folks that can't hear just didn't hear that right then. But this is where you switch audio. I am Cammie Nairn. I am your NCEES Education Product Consultant, otherwise known as your NCEES Product Manager, and I answer all things system for NCEES. And joining me today is my colleague, Jennifer Bass. I'll let her introduce herself.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jennifer Bass, and as Cammie said, we work very closely together as a team. I'm the NCEES coordinator, and I work in the Office of Educator and Student Advancement. So if you have any questions, particularly about the NCEES instrument itself or policy, I'm the person that you call. Otherwise, Cammie and I just contact one of us, and we'll get you the help that you need.
Thank you, Jennifer. Also from my team is our Learning.com manager, Audrey. Audrey, if you want to say hello.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Audrey Long, Product Manager for Learning.com, and I'm just here to help out Cammie. If you have any questions, just put it in chat, and I'll just bring it to Cammie's attention so she'll be able to assist you. So glad to be here and glad to have you all here this afternoon.
Audrey, good to have you here. All right, so this is our agenda for today. If you have a device that you can screenshot the QR code, it will bring up the slides as well, or you can use the bit.ly link to get to the slides. We're just going to go over ad hoc reporting and exporting to PDF. Very important reports for district administrators. So today's session is geared toward the district administrators. However, if you're joining us as a teacher, that's perfectly fine. Site administrator, perfectly fine. Maybe you want to know what the district administrator, what kind of reports can be run, or maybe you're helping with beginning teacher audits. You want to know what kind of reports can you run in NCEES to help with that. So do stay if you want, but just heads up, the people that can access these reports are district administrators. There is my... Okay, I'm going to come to this slide first. We do have training accounts available. So I did want to share that if you do not have access to the ad hoc reporting in NCEES because you're not a district administrator in NCEES, we do have training accounts that you can use. Let me pop over there. Now, there's not a lot of data out here, but you can like walk through the steps if you have an extra screen. I know it's hard to do on a single screen, but if you have a couple screens and you want to follow along, this is the training account access codes. So we're going to find a username of teacher number 3 because they are set as district administrators in the training account. Just put your initials in the box that you're using. So just double click in there, put in your initials, and then get the username. You're just going to highlight it, copy it. Well, big crazy. My system decided to go slow as mud right now. All right, so you're going to copy the name, and then you're going to go to the training site, which is here. Log in. I'll show you how to log in. All right, so you're going to paste in that username, and you're going to then put in your password, which is capital T, RAIN 123. That's train 123 with a capital T. All right, do we have anybody that wants to say in the chat you need more time to go get a training account? Or if you don't need it, you don't need to chat. If you do need help, let me know before we move on. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so we're going to go back to the slides just a minute. We are going to do a lot of this live, so that you can see the actual steps and then have the slides to fall back on. All right, so we will be answering some questions during this webinar that I get quite often. How do I create reports specifically for a list of teachers that I'm responsible for observing? Well, your reports are restricted to your access. So if you're only accessing those teachers, and any reports that are published to you, those will only then report out those staff. But if you want to do a subset of those, we can't do that with the reports we're going to show you today. Not really. We'll have to maybe work with your district administrator to see if that can happen, but for the most part, that really doesn't happen. It's whatever you have access to is the data results you're going to get. And then how to create reports and push out to individual schools to run for the staff. This you can do. We're going to show you how to do that. Can I do a record of teacher activity status report? And this includes capturing dates and signatures that were recorded. We're going to show you how to do this in an export PDF, or you could also do it in the ad hoc reports. And then can I run observations, score report, or ratings report summary for the current year for the observations? We're going to talk about that. They wanted to run a report like that by employee. And in fact, I've got like 5 or 6 questions already this year. Can they run a rating report based on what is in the observations? So we're going to find the answer to that. Again, here is the training accounts for today if you need those. I do suggest that if you do are a DA and you want to follow along, go ahead and log into your NCEES site, and you can follow along as well. So we're going to start right off with creating the ad hoc report. And this is found under System Administration in the Applications area, Ad Hoc Reporting Restricted. Why does it say restricted? It's because the results that you're going to get are restricted to your location and to your access rights. So that's the only reason it says restricted. Doesn't mean you're restricted from running reports. Just means your results will be restricted. Here is the help guide. There's a Word version and a PDF version. I've also created a spreadsheet. Now, this was pre-COVID, so we may have a couple fields like can assume identity, that kind of field, that were new during the COVID years that might not be in the spreadsheet, but this spreadsheet lists all the ad hoc reports in every field that it pulls. So if you have somebody that really loves to do reports and you're going to put them in charge of ad hoc reporting, this might be helpful to them to come in here and put in the name of the report that they're creating and then check off all the fields that they're including in that report. So that's just a resource for you. All right, here's our first question. How do I create reports specifically for the list of teachers I'm responsible for observing? So the district administrator can select to narrow the demographics in the report, but they currently cannot set a specific group to the creation of that report in ad hoc. So they can't like say only include a certain group in this report. So if you created a staff group. And also district administrator can publish it to you if you're the site administrator. And like I said, the results are restricted to your location and your access rights. So principals, budget code 114, are system assigned as site administrators, and their restrictions are because they are assigned as an evaluator to all the staff in their district by the system, they will get results for those. If you've given an AP or somebody else rights as a site administrator, their results will be further restricted unless you've also assigned them to everybody in the location. So just remember that. Just because they're a site administrator doesn't mean they can run a report for the whole school unless they have access to everybody in that school that are to be included in that report. Second question, how to create reports and push them out to individual schools to run for their staff. Can they be broken down by plan type, but also aggregate as an entire staff? So as a district administrator, you can create an ad hoc report with filters and publish the report to the site administrators. So the site administrators will see this under their reportings tab, and we'll take a look at that before we jump in. And that will restrict the results that are returned. In fact, we can jump over there, I think. Let's see. There's my SS. That's the one I'm a teacher. Here's one. Okay. This is the home page. This is the live site. So I'm going to go to my reporting tab. When you publish an ad hoc report to your site administrators, they're going to see this My Ad Hoc Report section, and they're going to see all the reports that are published to them. If you're looking at this section, you're going to see a trash can, so you could delete the report from here, or you can, this little squiggle is the run icon. So you can run the report from here. It'll show more if you click show all. Remember that as you're publishing these. And then let's see if I have one that has a filter on it. Let's try this one. Oh, I clicked run. So this is what happens when you click the run button. Let's try that again. I was trying to find one that has filters on it. Let's try this one. All right, so this one has a filter on it. So when you click run, it's going to stop at the filters first. So this one, I put a filter on, am I looking for evaluation status of any, do I need to find archived evaluations? Yes or no? I'll just say no. That means it is archived. It is not archived. And do I want to include an active person or both? Am I trying to find people that are still connected to my school, but they left? Or are they still active at my school? So yes means they're fully active. No means they're still connected to my school, but they've gone. They've not been picked up by another North Carolina school yet. So you can do both, yes or no. And then here is where you could put where they could enter their school code. You could also put the name of the school here, and then they could put school names in here. But there's different filters, and we'll look at those. So once they click those, the word search means run, so they'll run that report. And I'm not going to run it because I'm state level. But that's what the filters are. So as we go into the ad hoc reporting and create a report, and I talk about setting those filters, this is where it shows up to those you publish the report to. So just quickly before we jump to the live side, when you're going in here and finding a report to run, you're going to look for a topic, and then you're going to come in here and create a new report. And then it's going to list out the reports that you created if you've saved them. You don't have to always save a report. But if you want it to rerun it, then you do want to save it, and you'll get the run button. If you're the one creating the report in here, you're going to see an edit button as well. All right, so let's jump over to the other side. All right, let's see, try this one here. All right, so I'm in the training site. I'm going to go to system administration. If this runs too slow, I'm going to jump to the live site. And you guys are going to click on. Now, if you zoom in, remember that it drops off over here, system administration, and then ad hoc reporting restricted. page. A couple years ago, they added this refresh button. So once you've started a report running, they show up here in this top section and you can keep refreshing. You're also going to get an email that says your report is done. And then you're going to come here and refresh anyway. And to get there's a little, looks like an eyeball that says your report is ready to view. So you click on that. So we're going to start maybe with, let's do a people report. So I'm going to scroll, let's do the topic of people. I'm going to scroll down. And I do include in the resources of the slides what all these reports are. I put all these definitions in there as well. So here's the people section, the people topic, and here's the new report. This little arrow is to show you, have I saved any people reports? They will be here under your templates. If you've run any and want to access that report, they'd be under the cache tab. Now, cache tabs do expire, or the reports do expire under the cache tab, so watch that date. You need to download that report if you want to keep those results before it expires. So let's click on New Report. Just a little bit. I don't want to make it too small. Okay, so we're out here. We're ready to create a report. What does all this mean? On the left, you can see that you can create a raw data report. That's a CSV file that's going to be generated that you can download and open in Excel. Graphical is going to be like a percentage report, and we'll look at those too. Right now, we're going to stick with raw data. If I'm saving this report, I might want to put a name in here. So if you just want to play along, we can just do test. CJN 2223. So put your initials in there in case somebody else is naming reports the same. If you're in the training site, then these are not required fields, but you do want to have a name if you're going to save it. The description is not fully required. So you can put additional notes in here, like I included the comments field, thing like that. So I'm going to keep it on raw data. Summary rows, maybe if I have some graphical data coming in that needs a summary row, you can include those. All right, I'm not going to save it yet because we need to figure out what we're going to choose over here. So over here we have search people. What do I want to include in the report? I'm going to check the box. Now, if I don't want to start with what the system has already checked, I can click this first box once. It selects all the boxes. I can click it again and it unselects all the boxes. So now I can check which fields to include in this report. All right, so I do want the last name and the first name. Username is going to be that 10-digit UID of the staff. So you could include that if you need it. And then if some of these you don't know what they are, you can click the little drop downs. I don't usually include that, but you can if you want to have a definition if you're running a report to find out who's users in your district. Users is going to be everybody in the system, except the site administrators have that definition and the district administrators. You probably won't have the region and the state because we don't really use those. And they are above district administrator. So just decide what you want to include. So we got first name, last name. So what is this next little circles for? These are your sort orders, and you can do 2 bullets. So maybe I want to sort by last name first. And let's see what else. So as we go down, just decide what you want to include. You can include emails. Here's the employee ID. That also is your 10-digit UID. Current staff position. Are they instructional? Are they the new support demographic that's taking PD only in NCEES? If you want to include those. Now, checking the box means that's going to put a header on your report. Okay. ASW, we no longer have in NCEES, so you can skip over that. If you're running a report of people that have access rights, or they can assign access rights to other people, you could check that box. or can assume identity. We aren't using HRMS ID in here. Maybe I want to find out everybody's license expiration date. I could check that. So maybe I want to sort by last name and then by expiration dates of their licenses. So there's where I'm going to put my second bullet. And notice this grayed out when I put a filter, a sort order on it. All right, so if I'm publishing this to somebody else to run, maybe they would like a filter on certain areas. So add a filter, you would check the box. And that then puts a filter when you publish it to them that they see on the reporting page. So that's just FYI. This next section here, you can drop down and you can select different parameters. Find all users in this site. So you're going to see, as you drill down, it's only going to let you see your access areas. So this is where you're going to select. If you can select these parameters and not include it on the header in the report, because I've not checked this box, but maybe I'm just running for these 3 schools. And I know that. Now, if I want to include that in there, then I'll check this box if I want to see it in my report. If I want to select all of them, I can do this. If I don't select anything, it's going to run for everything. So find all users with this site. It's going to include people that are double booked in 2 different sites. So this will show that. Find users with this site listed as primary. When people come into NCEES, one of their locations is identified as primary. When you're looking at a profile, it shows bolded. So maybe I do want to know which people have my site as primary site. So I might want to check that bullet. Find users who are tied to this site, but it's not their primary site. Maybe they've moved on and gone to another district and my HR hasn't disconnected their active status yet. So that might be useful. All right. And then if you want to see their primary site, you can click that. And then here's the demographics. I'm not going to drill down into demographics, but I am going to show you what it is. Most of your people that come in are going to be under instructional, some are administrative. The ones I would probably use if I were going to use anything in here is your roles. The evaluation type is calculated in NCEES. It's not what's set as their evaluation type. So remember that. Remember, we have a lot of issues with HR data not coming in cleanly. So that might not be a viable option. Same thing with classification. If they're classified as comprehensive, then their evaluation type is also going to be comprehensive, even if they're a career teacher. So we're working on cleaning all that up. So those 2 I would probably stay away from. Certification year, that should be coming in correctly. But remember, as you see these cycle years, there's a cycle year 1 for the 3-year people, and there's a cycle year 1 for the 5-year people. As they renew, they start over at cycle year 1. So just remember that. Cycle year 1 doesn't mean you're a beginning teacher. All right, any questions so far? And then there's just other fields that you can put in here. You just got to click if you want it to show on the report. When you do dates, you can do on or before, on or after, or dates between. So maybe you want to know if somebody joined you between here and there, last summer and right now. You can put those dates in. There is a little widget if you click on the calendar. You can switch months with the internal arrow or years with the external arrows. Right? So you can put those dates in. We're just going to do through today. And again, if I don't want it to show on the report, but I want the report restricted to those dates, I just put the dates in and leave that unchecked. And then do I want to show on the report if the staff that's in my report is active or not? I usually do like to do that. So I just say find both and check the box and tell me. All right, then it goes to other sections. So if this If you are doing PD and NCEES and you want to connect this report to what's on a roster on one of your PD courses, this is where you enter the PD information. So if you want more help with that, call me later and we'll walk through all that, because we don't do a lot of those if we're pulling just people reports. But if you want to know if all these people are taking the mentor course or something like that, you're just going to need to know your course numbers or things like that. And then you have the roster sections. Those are usually for the instructor-led courses. So I'm going to skip over those just in the interest of time. Attendance on courses, a lot of course areas on these reports. If you leave them blank, that's not going to pull anything that has anything to do with courses. And the last section is, do I want to list what school they're at? Here, if I want to include the school code, I'll do it here. If I want to restrict the report to a school code, I would enter it there. Any questions about how to understand what each of these areas do? So we have that fields to select to include on the headers. Sorting, you have two sorts, and we sorted by last name and license expiration date up at the top. Up here, your bullets. And then if I'm going to publish this to a site administrator, and I want them to have filter options on that page, I would select these boxes. Now we've got our titles in here. We've selected our parameters. I'm going to click Save As. And it jumps me to this page. I don't want to change any of this. I'm just going to save the report details. It tells me it's been updated. I'm going to say OK. Now what can I do on this page? I can run the report. It's going to pop me back to the other page where I have to click Run again. If I want to schedule this report, let's take a quick look at that. So I've run the report. I like it. Now I want to run it 4 or 5 times a year. So I can come out here and I can schedule it to run. So this is my people report. And I'm going to give it that same title. So this is the export title. This is the file name that's going to show up for the report. If I want to include the date that it runs, I'm going to put date. And it needs a macro. So I highlight it. Let me zoom in so you can see that. There's a date macro right here. Just copy that and put it in your title. When do I want this report to start running? We can do one today, and I want it to run at 7 p.m. tonight. And then do I want this to recur? So you can do daily, weekly, monthly, or specify additional dates. Daily, and then you have to fill out the pattern. So every 5 days, every 30 days, or every weekday. Or do I want a range range of reoccurrence? If I'm saying every weekday, when do I want it to stop running? Maybe I need to go check something that's happening daily at my school. Maybe I want it to stop running after 14 times, or I can end it by a certain date. So whatever the bullet is on is what it's going to do. Weekly. So here I can do maybe I want to run this every 3 weeks on Thursday. And again, I can fill out the range of reoccurrence here. Monthly, same thing. What day of the month I want to run it on. So the 5th day of every 3 months, or the first Monday of every 2 months. So you can do that way. Again, you fill out the range of reoccurrence. And the one that a lot of people like is specify additional dates. So this is where it doesn't fit in those reoccurrence patterns, but you know you have dates that this needs to go to the superintendent. So you come out here, you click on the widget, you pick a date, and it already added it. If I pick the wrong date, I can remove it. How do I add another date? Click on the calendar again. Zoom back out a little bit. Maybe it needs to run in January 6th, and now it's added that date. So input every date that you need that to run this year. Okay. Any questions about how to add that kind of date? Okay. And because this isn't the same recurring pattern, it's just random dates, and you don't have the range of reoccurrence to put in. Now, who's going to get notice that this report has run? The emails go in here. And if you need it to go to notify the assistant superintendent, put a comma and then put their email. Now, you're the only one that's going to be able to come out here unless they have access to NCEES. I don't think they can access your report though. So it's just going to notify them that the report is ready, and then you're the one that's going to have to come out here and download it and then share it. All right, so we leave all the FTP stuff blank here. Then the order that you want showing in the report, you can move it. So maybe I want employee ID first in here. So when you're scheduling it, it actually lets you move which order your fields are in. And then save. I've got it scheduled. And you can go to the reporting tab and click on manage reports in the container or two down to manage your exports. What if I didn't want this report anymore? I can delete it. All right. Now, maybe this is a report that I want my principals to run. So I can either add them individually. Just put their last and first name in. I don't put anything else usually. Scroll all the way down and click search. And then I guess I should do one for you. So let me find myself. And this is backwards. You have to put the last name first. Click search. And it didn't find me. Let's go back. Let's try another name. I'm real much sit down and find you. I don't know why, and this is because I know why. It's because I'm in train site, but you'll get a name here. You just click the bullet beside their name and then select them, and they'll be added individually. The other way to add people is to target right here, target to a group. All right. So this looks like a lot of information. When do you want it to start? When do you want them to have access to the report? I'm just going to leave today, but you can change it. Do set an expiration date. Maybe this is a report that they can run for the next 5 years. I like to do it like a 5-year cycle because, you know, then you're kind of starting over after every 5-year cycle. So if you wanted to go out 5 years, just do your little arrows and then decide when it needs to end, maybe July 1st. And so otherwise your list is just going to stay out there forever and ever, and it's going to get super long on that reporting page. Dynamically republish is the next thing. What does that mean? It means it will automatically republish to whatever parameters I set. So if I'm searching for district administrators or site administrators, I know that people leave my school, join my school, that it just rotates. So I want all new site administrators to also get this report. Then I need to automatically republish so that I don't have to manually come out here when I've hired somebody new to then give them this report. So if you use dynamically republish, it's going to say, oh, I see another site administrator, I'm going to put them on. And when site administrators leave, it comes off. Account status, either skip over this. I don't know why you want to select inactive accounts, or you can just come out here and say active accounts. Staff position. Just want to show you what's in here. If I'm publishing this to administrators, I can click this. I'll just show you what it does. My goodness, because I'm in the training site. Then it gives me demographics to choose from my administrators. And it's going to give me the role. So maybe I'm just publishing this to principals. It's going to go to anybody with this principal assignment, your lead principals, your budget code 114. So that's one way to get your site administrators. Watch this number over here. You're going to see this huge number. You can't actually publish to that many folks. Watch this number as it goes down to make sure it's limiting you to your district. The other area that you can do site administrators is to set admin rights. Or if you're publishing something for other district administrators to run, this is where you can select it. And notice the number did drop some because evidently there's some other access rights playing a role in there. And then location. So it depends on how high up you want to go. Am I publishing this to everybody in the district or to certain schools in the district? So maybe I'm creating a report for high school site administrators. Then maybe I want to select schools. So I'll come out here and I've got my school and I'll add all the high schools. So I have to do them one at a time. And they show up down below. Now I'll click done. And now I'm just sending to 2 recipients. So there's 2 site administrators, one for each school. All right. And then that's where I'm pretty much done, because if you do the next section, this next section is for skipping most of the top section and just setting individual people is that. And then set people advanced, like I just showed you a while ago. And then view or remove people. This, you can publish to staff groups. So if your district is using staff groups, you can come out here and select your staff groups. It's going to change the number. I don't have any in the training site, so I'm going to skip that. But it will, if I select the people here, then I might end up with 0 because it's all the data will be conflicting then. All right, or I can publish to course sections. All right, so I'm skipping over all that. I did all my settings up here, and I'm going to click finish. And am I sure I want to send this to 2 users? I'm in the training site. We don't have any emails in the training site, so I'm going to say yes, but they will see it on their reporting page, and then it populates here. If you're publishing to a lot of people, you can click here to refresh the page if you want to see their names populate up there. All right, any questions about how to publish an ad hoc report? It's really quiet today. Right. Got the slides just a minute, just to show you that you do have slides to fall back on. All right, we just talked about publishing the report to other folks and how to schedule an export. And there is also a help guide for scheduling an export. And there's, sorry guys, my internet has been Very slow today. Got this part out of the recording. There we go. All right, we talked about setting those filters and then what people see when they go to the reporting page under My Ad Hoc Reports and they run a report, they'll see the filters. Also on their My Ad Hocs, when they run their report, they can then go to My Cash Reports to view their reports. And like there's that circle with the eyeball in it. That means you can view the report. They will expire. They will tell you when the report is submitted. They don't stay out here forever, so they do need to download those. All right, somebody wanted a record of teacher activity statuses report. This includes the dates and the signatures. That is actually found under the topic of evaluation forms, single row. So to create those, you're going to go to Ad Hoc Reporting and scroll to the topic evaluation form, single row. This is what your report is going to look like. You're going to select all your fields. You're going to pick an evaluation plan type, and we're going to go look at it real quick live because there are a couple things I need to let you know about saved reports. This is where when your report runs, you can download that CSV. All right. I want to answer this question before we go live. Observation score report for summary of the current year. North Carolina doesn't have observation ratings reports for observations. Ratings only occur at the end of the school year for the summary evaluation. So it is confusing. Excuse me just a minute. It is confusing because the same form shows in the observation as shows in the summary evaluation. So you are going to see those rating words, the developing, the proficient, the accomplished, the distinguished. But when you're observing, you're actually doing these action items. Do they know it? Knowledge? Do they show it? Action? Is it showing in their classroom? Interaction? Is it showing outside of their classroom? Extension. And you are tallying descriptors. Now we do have a report, the observation single row, that will give you, it doesn't give you a number tally, it prints every descriptor in that report that's been checked. So that's the only ad hoc report that I can think of that will answer this question. And I know some districts can take it in Excel and then they can get those values. But you are not rating them during observations. So hence why North Carolina doesn't have a report to pull ratings during observation time. Any questions about that? All right. So we're also going to look at creating a graphical report to show percentages. This is what it looks like. We're going to go back live in just a minute. So graphical people, ad hoc reports, you're going to get this graph. You're going to get a lot of information. There'll be tabs that you can drill down into the information. So this is a good place to get percentages. So if you have a report that needs percentages, like how many people are on these different plan types, and you've got a total of people that are not selected, how many here, this person's a career developer coordinator, 0.1% of my people are career developer coordinator teacher plan type, things like that. I have published to you today some evaluation completion reports that do show these percentages. So if you want to try those out and then go create your own, these are published to you today. And let's go live and look at graphical reports. So we're going to go back to system administration. Ad hoc reporting restricted. I'm sorry, guys. All right. So this is where you see when you're on this page, the reports that you're running currently. It keeps a list of 5. If it's ready to view, you'll have the eye icon. Notice sometimes you get an error just because the data that you've selected doesn't want to collect. Sometimes you get an error because the system is bad or got a glitch in it that day. So just let me know or open a ticket if you ever get too many errors occurring and you can't figure out why. Open that ticket. It may be something we need to escalate to PowerSchool. Notice that it will tell you when your reports are submitted, and if it's viewable, it will then also tell you when it expires, so you know when to get it. So as you run more reports, this rolls off. Can you still see these reports? You can. So if I come back down here to my people report, it's under my class tab. Well, it should be. Oh, I'm back on the live site. I think we ran it over here. See if we can get there. I'll tell you a story. We haven't run in here yet. Okay, but it will show up under your cash tab. All right. I wanted to show you a couple of things, so I'm going to open up this report. And you wouldn't click on the pencil. You would think you would, but it's just going to take you to that save and publish page. I'm going to click on run. So maybe I want this report to run again for next year. How do I duplicate it? So I would come in here, since I'm not changing anything over here. If I'm changing a report that has a plan type in it, it's going to blank out this whole first section. It keeps anything else I've selected down here. Just FYI, it will blank this out. So you might want a screenshot of this or keep a record of this, of what you selected, if you're changing something on this side. We'll try this. So maybe I want something for next year. And I want it to be graphical. All right, so now I'm going to do some graphics in this report. And so I want to select, let's see, let's do how many of my people are on the PDP type, the different PDP types. So you can do a bar or you can do a pie, one of those. Notice when I click this, it automatically said go on the report. You decide how you like to see your graphical data, in bar form or in pie. And maybe I also want teacher plan type. And I've selected graphical. I can change anything else out here. And I'm going to do save as. So now I've got my new report. I'm going to save those details. This one I don't really want to publish to anybody. I do want to go run it. I'm in training, so I don't think I'm going to get any data. So hopefully if you guys are doing it, you're going to get something. So click run. And this is what it looks like when you first run the report. You can refresh. That ran pretty quick, so I don't think there's going to be anything in it. You're also going to get an email, and then you come back out here and refresh this. All right, so I did get one person with no PDP, no evaluation. And you can click in here to view the people. All right, so there's my one person, and I can view what site they're at. The more data you tell it to put in here, the more it's going to include in here. So you're going to get individual people information. If I'm checking the status of plan completions, I can drill down. Well, can I also see that raw data? You can. It's right here. Show raw data. And it then pops down at the bottom of the page. So you can still get that download CSV report from a graphical report. did want to show you on the reporting tab how that looks to somebody. So here's my ad hoc reports and my cast reports that I've run. I just open it up, and so I can now look at that. So if you publish it to a site administrator, they've run it, they now can come out here. This one does have 8 results. So I can view evaluation status. Is it archived or not? Because I had select, was it archived or not? So it showed up on the report. Who owns the plan and where are they located? And just keep scrolling down. It's going to give you a graph for each thing that you selected. I want to see a graphical data. And because I'm in training, using training users, you're just seeing this one big red, but it will give you a bar for each different data that needs to show. So here's one. Observation 1. I see very few are completed and 7 are in progress. And there's my percentages. This might be what you be useful to share when you're doing those reports to the administrators. And again, just keep clicking to view different data. All right, any questions about ad hoc reporting? All right, it's about 4:20, so we'll probably jump over. Let me put this back up, make sure we didn't miss anything. Monday we'll have fast internet every second. I did put the instructions for duplicating your report. Remember the first section will lose your check marks. So you do need to keep up with that. The rest of the sections will keep them. Company. All right, we're going to look at exporting a plan to PDF. I like these for your end of year reports. They're also good if once you've figured them out, to do for beginning teacher audits. So we'll look at one or both of those. I don't know how many of you, if you have any ideas that you want to see, let me know. I did put on this slide, and it's also on another slide. You do need these macros to title and get the information in your report. I'll show you why I put them here so you can copy them, because you can't really copy them when you're in the report setup. And we're going to go to System Administration, Export a Plan to PDF. Here's your help, guys, for using the partial export that we're going to look at shortly. Or export a plan to PDF for using the record of activities. This is great for those BT audits because it's going to include your signatures and when they signed and who signed. And I know the BT audits always need those. It does create individual PDFs for each staff that you include in the report. You're going to set all your parameters. We're going to go through this bar, and you're going to set, you have to choose this delivery method, the second bullet. If you select the first bullet, you won't get anything because there's no FTP for it to go to. Select the second bullet, and we'll go through all those steps. It will email you when your report is completed. You'll come back out to export to PDF to then manage your completed exports, and it'll look like that bottom graphic. You're going to be able to click on it to download it, and it will be a zip drive with all your PDFs. So we're going to go through these steps. We're going to be scheduling a new export. This is your page. This is your export queue. Once you schedule that export, it will show up in your queue. It will show that export name that you name it. And then down below is your completed exports. Will show down below. We'll show you how many completed and how many failed. if any failed, you can click on them to see which files failed and why. Sometimes those do check a ticket to PowerSchool, but they fixed a lot of that from a couple years ago, and they actually run very well now. So I'm going to show one more here. So this side, there's different kinds of exports. The full export will include all activities of the plan for the selected evaluatee. It's going to include everything, including any attachments. So you know how teachers can put artifacts and attachments and graphics and videos. It's going to download everything that's in that plan that you choose. So remember that in your zip file, you're going to have everything. It'll name it for the person, but it'll have their pictures, all the attachments. I like partial export because if I don't want all those attachments, then I can select just what I want in my PDF. The template export, this is where you can do like a record of activities or the PDP template reports that you see in people's plans when you're in the record of activity. That is a good one to run. And then the advanced export, I haven't really used a lot, but it will generate 2 PDFs per individual, one for the template export, if you check like the record of activities, and one for all activities in your selected plan. So it's going to give you like the full export plus the template export that you select. Over here, when I do my screenshots, and I didn't realize this when I first created this graphic, I see that you can select groups of people, but you guys don't see that. So I'm still working with PowerSchool to see if this can be enabled, because that might be a good selector to drill down. All right. So I am in the live site. So we're going to go to system administration. At some point. All right, system administration. Under applications is export a plan to PDF. So click on that. All right, so this is that page that I was telling you about. There's where we're going to go schedule a new export. Here's where you can see your queue. You can view it, you can copy it and run it again, change some parameters, or you can cancel it if you decided this isn't working or you knew you did something wrong in it. You can cancel it. And then any that are completed, here is where you can see where they've completed here. I'm statewide, so I see everybody's. I did want to show you that you can sort these like A to Z, Z to A, that kind of thing. I want to find mine. Okay, so this is one where I completed and ran. I'm testing something for PowerSchool. So if I have any that failed, I can click on the I, and it takes me to this page, and it gives me the person's name, the status of this, and if it failed, then it would give me an error message. So if you ever do get any failures, that is where you would go to then open a ticket to DPI, so you can report to me what the error message was, and we'll get PowerSchool to check it out. All right, so let's go create a report. We're going to schedule a new export, and I'm actually going to do partial export because we don't really have another hour to go. So we want to, but the steps apply mostly the same for everything. So we're going to start by picking a plan. You can search. Notice we have all the plans that have ever been. You can just scroll through here. You can show more per page because there are 66 results. Or you can just filter. I just usually like to filter for the well, I don't even filter. I just search. So I put 2021 and then 2022. So now I've got the name in there and I can hit enter. And now I've got all of the last year plans. If you want to run for this year, put this year in and it will pull them up. I'm just going to do this. So let's pull a standard evaluation. So I won't do standard. This was something that PowerSchool was checking out. So don't run this ZZ comprehensive. We don't have ZZ comprehensive reports. A comprehensive report is right here. And then we're going to click next. And here is those different exports. So the partial export is right here. And I'll show you template export as well. And we're going to click next. All right, it comes already checked. This will include everything unless you change it. So you can uncheck the box. It unchecks all the boxes. All right, I just want to run my summary end of year information for 21 and 22. And that's right here. I wanted to point out this right here. Look over here before you run this. You think, oh, there, I can get signatures and dates. No, this is the form that you see on the page on the plan. So that's just going to give you the data that's on the form. That's not going to give you the signatures and everything. So I may do want the observation scoring summary with my summary stuff, just to see if there's any difference in how maybe principals evaluated folks or rated folks. So I'm going to include that, and then I'm going to include the summary, the standards, and I want to include the conference because that's where the evaluator signed off, and I want the teacher sign off. So if you want signatures, look for the sign off. And then your decision if you want to include anything else. School assignment at time of training and orientation. That might be good for people that just joined your district and they're still working in their plan from the previous district. So I'm not going to include it at this time. All right, then we're going to click next. So I'm just wanting this summary information in a PDF for all individuals. Now I can just go ahead and run for all users, or I can pick specific users here. Just click whoever you want to include. You can click as many as you want to include. They turn yellow to let you know that they're included. I'll take that off. I can do specific sites. You guys have your own district, so I'm going to look at sites. So maybe I just want to include all the elementary schools, so I'll select those. And if I want to exclude sites, I'll do the opposite. So, but I want to include. And when they're included, remember they're yellow. Again, if you want to see more on the page, just do this little drop down here. You can see up to 100 sites per page. I'm going to click next, and I've selected all the sites that I want to include. Now, who's going to get notice of this report? So I want to see it, so I'm going to start typing my name and give it a second. And it will find you. All right here. So this is for anybody that is in NCEES. And you can add as many people in NCEES as you want to. All right. If you want to remove them, click the X. If you want this notice to go to other folks outside of NCEES, then you're just going to put their email address in here, separate them by commas. Remember, they're not going to get the report, though. You have to come out here and download it. All right, and then next. Now, what do I want to name my report? I'm just going to do standard. 3, 1, 2. Yes, down here. All right, so this is where the macros go. And notice you can't like click on them and copy them. So you either have to know them. I've been using this, so it's out here for me. And there is a slide I do want you to see. So this is what it looks like when you're doing the different parameters, because we had to figure out, well, why am I not getting spaces on my report titles, report names? And it's how you enter those macros. All right, so if I do last name, comma, first name, well, the commas do have to go after parentheses. Make sure you include those. I'll fix this slide right here. And then there should be a comma for this, but it brings it up like this. Knows it's all run together. The same thing if you do here, commas, and you put spaces in, it doesn't recognize spaces. Here, if I put the hyphen before the comma, it will include that. So you can put hyphens in. We try to do comma, comma, and it would not put a comma in. So just FYI. All right. So if you want hyphens in there, or, and I think you can also do dollar, right? Dollar. It's not let me type. Not responding again. You can do dollar and then just put the parens with nothing in there in between them, and it should give you a space. Put a comma after it. So just like that, dollar, like that, and it should put a space in there. All right. Notice I included employee ID. Notice ID does have a capital I. If you don't have that capital I in it, it will not pull. What if I check this box? Sounds good. I should exclude all the UIDs. Well, I'm asking for the UID, so if I exclude it, I'm not going to get any results. So I'm going to leave that unchecked. This one, you must choose the second bullet. That's all I got to say. We don't have an FTP for this to go to, so check that second bullet. When do you want it to start? Start today. How long, this one you can choose how long it stays available before it disappears. So you can choose for it to stay till next summer. So you decide that. And then your choice to check the following. Include file attachments. I don't want those file attachments. Exclude entries marked as inactive. Not really worried about that right now. Export only completed plans. You may want to do that at the end of the year. Export only shared observations. Well, the principals are required to share, so I'm hoping they've all followed that. And then site options. I recommend you keep it on this second one. Associate evaluation plan to the location of the owner the plan was started. That means that plan belongs to your district and to the staff. If that plan was started in another district, you guys shouldn't be working in it. So make sure to associate it to the location of the owner when the plan was started. Associate evaluation plan to the owner's current location. That's one you can try. And then associate evaluation plan to the owner's current primary location. So if they have two locations, it could associate it to a different location if NCEES sees it as primary. So, and then when you're done with that, any questions? Because we're going to finalize. And it's going to give you a page that you can come out here and review what you've put in. And if you're good with what you put in, you can click schedule export. If you want to make changes, click make changes. So we're going to schedule it. And now it's scheduled. And again, you can sort these as well. It tells you it's scheduled. All right, so that was scheduling a partial export. Very good for the summary reports. Let me see if I can show you. Put mine down here. So when it's completed, I'm going to show you what it does. You click on it, and then right here it is. You're going to click on it again. It's going to download. Let's put it in my downloads. It's gonna here. Take this off. I don't want to make sure I'm not showing anything. All right, and I want to show you what it does next. If you selected school, then it's going to put that by school, and inside here is going to be all the PDFs. I'm not going to show that because I think they have ID numbers on them. Yeah, they do. So, but that's what it looks like when it's done, and that's how you get it. All right, the other report that we were going to try out was the template report. So, I'm going to go back to system administration, export a plan to PDF, schedule a new export. I think I want to run this one. All right, and I want the comprehensive plan because we're going to run the record of activities for the BT audits. Now, I don't know if you run those on last year plans or this year. You guys know which one you need, but I'm just selecting this year. And I'm going to do the template export. And we're going to click next. All right. So I want, this is the template that's in the, like if you were to go to somebody's plan and click on the record of activities, you know, you can click that template report in there for the record of activities. So that's what this is. And you're going to click next. And again, you're going to select which schools you want it to run for or specific users. I'm not sure if I've got specific users here to run for. Let's just pick a few. All right, so I'm pick my users and I'm going to click next. Who gets the report? So very similar. I just wanted you to understand what the difference between the partial export and the record of activities or exporting those template reports. So once you've got this down pat, you're good to go. And let's just do. All right, and we're just select that second bullet. We know I want it to run. Now, I will tell you that as we get towards the end of the year, figure out your timeline when you want to run your reports, because it's ever in the queue first, their report runs first. I'm just going to leave that like it is and keep my bullet on that middle bullet. Select finalize. All right, I like how I've got it set up, and I'm going to schedule my export. So there it is. So who's ever in here first, their reports run first. If these do run a lot faster than they used to, but if you're running for a large district, I would suggest maybe bundling them up by high school or middle school so you don't have such a large file to run. If it doesn't complete the first night, it is still running. There is a window that it runs overnight, that it runs these PDF reports. So far, I've gotten all my reports running in a single night, but as we get toward end of year and more people are running reports, determine when you want to get yours done. Plan your calendar so you're not trying to run these reports like the last day or two of school or the last day or two of June. It will keep running even once we've did the EOY. Your report will keep running if you decided to run it on that last day of June. So just FYI. It'll run by who's ever in here first. All right, does anybody have any questions? I know we had one or two that had to hop away to some other meetings, other scheduled things. So let me come back to the slides and make sure we've covered everything. Now, in your slides, you have a lot of slides for PDF export. I repeated sections. So I did one with all the slides that would apply to a full export, and another section with all the slides that apply to the partial export. So if you want to break those out, you didn't have to go find the other slides. So they repeat. And we'll let my internet catch up. So do go out there and try those out. Go ahead and try them out ahead of time. So when it comes time for that end of year, you guys are ready for that. So again, there's slides for each plan, each type of export. I'll give you the descriptions on what you can do for each entry that needs to be filled out. At the end of our slides, so we can get our few slides in. So is anybody out there, do you mind putting in the chat, have you tried these before? Or are y'all new to running PDF export? Either Audrey and Jennifer, they're just going to be quiet on me today. If you get in there and you want some one-on-one time, just give me a call and we'll walk through all of that. I do recommend you run those end of year summary reports, especially. Every year we have people that try to run last year reports in NCEES. They don't run so hot because the demographics change. Demographics are always current year. So the name of a plan type, it only pulls current year stuff. So I would, even if it's not these ad hoc reports or the export to PDF, if you're doing the quick reports, run those before June 30th. So that you'll have them to help with plan types over the summer decisions and other decisions you guys need to make in the summer and fall. So these slides I'm clicking through just give you a description of all the different ad hoc report topics out there and what they do. Skip over this, that's last year. This is a report, the same thing, the ad hoc reports webinar that Sean does, so similar to what I just did, but if you'd like to see it from PowerSchool, this is Sean. He's awesome at doing step-by-steps in the reporting piece of NCEES. All right, and just a reminder that you need to have all reports finished by June 29th, 2023. I ask you to be done by June 29th because I need to check the system and run my reports on June 30th for the state. So if you guys are done by June 29th, we're all good to go. But if you're behind, let me know and we'll work together to make sure everything's in and done. All right, let's wrap up. I'm going to put this link in the chat. We always ask for your feedback. And if you do want a certificate for licensure renewal, to turn in for licensure renewal or approval, those are the last two questions on the feedback form. So, all right, so there's the feedback form. Let's see what else we have. If you've not checked out our new NCEES resource site, please go out there. If you're still bookmarked to the Google site we had, it's going away. Make sure you bookmark this. This is in Canvas, but it is a public site, so you don't need an account to get to this. The next site we've created is a resource site for you admin administrators in NCEES. If you click on this and it says you don't have access, what you need to do is go down on the left-hand side and click on Home-Based Resources, find NCEES and then enroll in this course. And that will give you access. If you can't get to Canvas at all, let me know and we'll check that. You just have to email me and I'll be glad to check it out. All our recordings are posted out here on YouTube, and we do follow up with an email to all our registrants about the session today. So you'll get that recording link. Here's my contact information, and if you want some one-on-one time, I do 30-minute increment office hours. You can select those from this Calendly link. And then we do want to thank you. Aubrey, thank you for watching the questions. And Jennifer, thanks for joining us today as well. And all of you all, I hope you guys have a great evening. I haven't seen any questions, so I'll be stopping the recording in just a minute. But I do want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. This is our last webinar for 2022. So happy holidays and enjoy the rest of this year before we get to 2023.